Hi, 7th grade. All right, we are going over 6.3 today. You do need a graphic organizer. You need this one. I don't remember which number this is, but you guys can look for it. And at the top of this graphic organizer, you guys can write 6.3, the percent proportion. Now, you guys know what a proportion is. A proportion is when you have two fractions that you set equal to one another, and we've been using proportions to solve for unknowns, right? Like, for example, if I had 5 over 10 and I set that equal to x over 30, you could solve this very easily, right? Cross multiplying, then divide. Okay, well, you're going to use that same idea to solve for percent problems. Now, as a student, I hated this stuff. It did not make any sense to me. The percent proportion was trash in my opinion. The next lesson, 6.4, is actually my more favorite way of solving percents. It's called the percent equation. So there's two things, the percent proportion versus the percent equation. And basically it's just two different ways to do the same thing. And I think that's why as a student I hated that, because I liked doing it only one way. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do the percent proportion. And if you like it, that's great. And if you hate it, no problem, because I'm going to teach you another way to do it the next day anyway. Okay, so the first thing that I hate about the percent proportion is they give you this formula. A over W is equal to P over 100. And what I don't really care for about this is that A stands for part, W stands for whole, and then P stands for percent. And in my mind, when I'm trying to figure out who's the part and who's the whole, I like to use a P for part, right? Instead of an A for part. I guess I understand P is being used for percent. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this up. Don't get mad at me. But instead of saying P is percent, let's just legit just put a percent sign right there. It's our unknown, but it's a percent sign, right? And then instead of using an A for whole, part, sorry, let's put a P for part. And to me, that makes more sense. You put the part over the whole, and that's going to equal the percent over 100, right? Okay, so before you get confused and frustrated, let me go ahead and give you the first example. The very first example is going to be finding a percent. So please, write that exactly how I did, finding a percent. Now, if I said I was looking for the percent in this equation right here, that means I'm looking for this thing. That means that they're going to give me the part, they're going to give me the whole, and I always know the 100 stays the same, right? And while we do these problems, I want you to think of this as tests on a score, a score on a test, or a score on an exit ticket or a bell ringer, and hopefully that'll make it make more sense to you. I do also have a guest host who might help out. We'll see. Math is not his favorite thing, but I think this would be fun. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so Zach, we're finding a percent, okay?
Okay.
And what sucks about this math is they're asking you to find the percent of something, but they're not just telling you have to figure out how to set up the equation, right? So this is the equation. The part over the whole, just like if this was a test, right? If you had 100 questions on the test, it would be out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
The part is how many you got out of 100. And then you set it equal to the percent, and the 100 stays the same. So using this formula, we are going to solve this first example. Now, kids, don't forget you have to write this in your notes just like this. All right, what percent of 15 is 12? Now, the first thing I want you to do is look at this. It says what percent. That's going to be who we're trying to find, right? So who are we trying to find?
Percent.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and underneath what percent, I'm going to underline it. And then I'm going to put my little percent symbol. That's how I know that's who I'm solving for, right? Now, of 15 is 12. See, when I was a middle schooler, it's this piece right here that I hated. Because how are you supposed to know who's the part and who's the whole? Well, it's kind of a strange question. You have to ask yourself, what percent would you get on a test if you got a 12 out of 15? Kind of a strange way to figure that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know. That's why I dislike this method of it, because you have to really understand the question. What percent of 15 would be 12, right? So it's almost like if they would change the word is to would be, it would make more sense. What percent of 15 is 12 out of 15? So gross. Okay, so we're going to set this up. The part is the 12, right? Because you're getting a 12 out of 15.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to say 12 over 15 and set it equal to the percent. We don't know what the percent is, right? So that can be my unknown. I'll put a percent symbol as an unknown. And then the 100 stays the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now to solve this, we just go ahead and cross multiply and then divide. 12 times 100 is?
120.
No.
Or 1,200. Late.
I know. It's late and we're all sick. All right, so you times those and then you divide by 15. 1,200 divided by 15. Yeah, no, I don't do that in my head either. Alexa, what is 1,200 divided by 15?
1,200 divided by 15 is 80.
Did you say 80?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it sounded like you cut out there for a second. Okay, so guys, let's look at this one more time. What percent of 12 would be, of 12, if 15 is 12? So think about this. If you got 12 out of 15 on a quiz, that means you got an 80%. So your final answer is not just 80. Your final answer is 80%. And now if it's asking you what percent, you got to make sure you put that percent symbol in the back, okay? All right. Confusing? Kind of? The hardest part is just knowing who's the part and who's the whole. Because sometimes it's not just the little number. You guys will see that pretty soon, definitely on the last one.
They should just say like 12 is what percent of 15?
Yeah, that would be a great way of asking it.
Way of asking.
Yeah. And like I said, the next section, it's actually way easier to learn how to solve these questions. So don't like panic and go, I don't know how to do this. Don't freak out yet. You can freak out after the next lesson if you still don't get it. But right now, don't worry. Just try to like absorb as much as you can. So now we're still using this formula. And we're trying to find the part now. What number is 36% of 50? Now, see, this one makes a little more sense in my mind, right? What number, that's our unknown, is 36% of 50? That means I know it's out of 50 points. I want to know how many I got correct to get a 36%. So I'm looking for the part. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the part is over 50. Set that equal to the 36 over the 100. Okay, so now to solve this, we cross multiply. 50 times 36.
That I cannot do in my head.
Me neither. Alexa, what is 36 times 50?
36 times 50 is 1,800.
And then we divide that by the 100. And now this is so nice. Look at this. These zeros cancel out. Leaves me 18 over 1, which equals 18. Which means if I got an 18 out of 50 on a test, I got a 36% on it. Okay. And then this one is finding the whole. And this is where I don't want you guys to be like, oh, yeah, I guess the part's always the little number, right? No, that's not always necessarily true. I mean, think about kids who get extra credit questions and get like 100% on a quiz. Wouldn't you have more than 100% on the quiz? So this is one of those questions kind of like that. 150% of what number? So the what number is who we're trying to find, right? That's our unknown. Is 24. So this is saying if I was taking a quiz and I got 150%, that means I got 24 questions correct, but I want to know how many total questions were there then. Okay, so to solve this, we cross multiply. Now this one you can do. What's 24 times 100?
2,400.
Good. And then divide that by 150. Now, these zeros can cross out. That's nice. 240 divided by 15. I think it's like 60 or 80, isn't it? Let's find out. Alexa, what is 240 divided by 15?
240 divided by 15 is 16.
Oh, 16, not 60. Okay, so if I think about it that way, if there was only 16 points total on the quiz, but you got the extra credit, you got all the bonuses, plus you got 100%, that means you got a 24 out of 16, right? So wouldn't it make sense to get 150% on the test? Yeah, so now when you guys are solving this, I want you to double check by asking yourselves those questions. Like, put it into like tests or quizzes or homework to see if it makes sense. Because sometimes if your parts in your whole got mixed up, then it wouldn't make sense, right? So let's say I accidentally did say that the 24 was the whole and I was looking for the part, right? And then when I solved this, and let's say I got 16, it wouldn't make sense to say if I got a 16 out of 24 on a quiz, that means I got 150%. It doesn't make sense. So you guys can always ask yourself that question at the end to make sure you didn't mess that part up. All right, guys, that's the lesson. That's it. So please use these notes right here to help you with your exit ticket. Exit ticket, oh gosh, I'm on page 230 in the book. Your exit ticket is going to be number, let's do something like, let's do number 11, and let's do number 13. So exit ticket, you're going to write at the very top of your paper 6.3 and your name. Don't forget that, you silly gooses. And then I want you to do these two questions. If you get stuck, use your notes to help you figure out how to set these up, okay? And then when you're done, you can turn that in. All right, guys, hopefully I will see you soon.